I think it's totally a lost kind of filmmaking, like especially in Taiwan cinema these days. Like, hey everybody, I'm Nick. I'm a director living in Taiwan.
Hey everybody, I'm Luke, cinematographer living in Taipei, Taiwan.
And today we're talking about the Edward Yang film Terrorizers.
恐怖分子1986年的作品。
This was requested to us, so we watched it. I had never seen it. You'd seen it before, right?
I've seen it before a long time ago.
And it is an earlier Edward Yang film, and it is about multiple characters living in Taipei and how their lives kind of intersect and intertwine.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters are a photographer and his girlfriend, a gangster and his girlfriend, and then a writer and her husband, who is like works in a science lab of some kind. It's not really clear what his job is.
But he seems to be a scientist.
He's a scientist.
Straight, very, academics job.
Yeah. And then there's some other characters like a police officer who's friends with the scientist and a editor of a newspaper who the scientist's wife has an affair with.
Right.
And all of these characters, at the beginning of the film, it's kind of unclear who the main character of the film is, as the stories are given sort of equal weight throughout. You start following somebody in great detail, and then all of a sudden it'll switch from the photographer's story to the female gangster's story, and you'll follow her for a while, but then it'll switch to the novelist, and you'll follow her for a while, and then you'll switch to the scientist, and you'll follow him for a while, and it kind of disorients you, right?
So you don't really know who is the main character.
Yeah.
Right? Is she or is him or is it one older or younger?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
But eventually you will find out at the end.
Yeah. I mean, it's very narratively unique because it doesn't really follow the same like beginning, middle, and 3-act structure that a lot of people are used to in movies.
Mm-hmm.
So at the beginning of the film, I even found myself getting a little restless, like, okay, what is the point of this? What's going on? But as the stories continue to connect, it becomes so fascinating with these different little snippets of these people's lives and the things they do. Like, I think the moment of the film where I was really started to get locked in was when the female gangster was, I think she was kind of she took a guy into her hotel room.
Yeah.
And she tried to rob him. And then he caught her and she stabs him. And so, and she runs away. And so you're thinking like, okay, wow, these people's lives are pretty interesting. When you started trying to think about, okay, what is he trying to say with this?
Okay.
And I think it goes to the title of the film, Terrorizers, which is that all the people in the film are actually really, really selfish. Mm-hmm. All the characters are all hurting each other.
Yeah.
So they do all these different things that impact everybody's life negatively around them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, the photographer leaves his girlfriend for no reason, and the gangster is robbing people, and you're like, why are you doing this? And the novelist woman like hates her husband and has an affair, and you don't know. I think the thing about it is like the motivations for their cruelty and the mean things they do to each other. It never really. You're like, why are you doing this to them?
Yeah, there's no reason. Let me feel about the butterfly effect. You do someone a little things which could amplify a lot in their lives. So like the girl make fake phone call.
Prank phone call.
And then all of a sudden things totally change. The writers could write new whole stories about the novels.
Yeah, and based on this idea of this fake phone call.
Fake phone call. So all of a sudden for me is the phone call connect all of them together. So the fake phone call for me is very attract me to the story.
Right.
Which is, when I was young, I did pick out a fake phone call.
You picked one up? You answered the phone?
I answered the phone call, and then the one just weird and saying shit like, hey, you know what? I am your real father. And then I was like 5 years old or 6 years old. Young.
So did you believe it?
I just keep questioning myself. Am I? So it's so interesting.
Wow.
Made me feel okay. So back to the time someone did do some, 恶作剧 to each other for no reasons.
Yeah. So, well, and I think that goes to like what you said. I think it's a really important moment because it speaks to the theme of one of the themes of the film, which is like how everyone's randomly connected.
Yeah.
Because when she opens the phone book and she's looking through all the names, there's like 100 people with the same name, right?
Yeah.
And she just happens to pick this one name to make this fake phone call, and then all of a sudden they're randomly connected, and all these changes in everybody's life happen because she just decided, I'm going to make a prank phone call to this guy. But she could have made it to somebody else.
Yeah.
If she just picked the name under it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite interesting. And then there's another part in the film where the photographer is standing on a bridge and he's just following all these people walking by. And I started to think, it's like the way that everyone is randomly kind of just connected. Like when you go out in the city and you walk on the street and all these people pass you by, you're never going to see that person ever again.
No.
But they have their own life, their own problems, their own story.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I really think Edward Yang is really interested in this idea of, all the different stories that are out there.
Yeah. Really fascinating because this story could just happen between you and me. It's just normal, and you can watch any news on the TV, and you could just think about, okay, why would they happen? Like
what led up to the events of this situation that I'm hearing about? Yeah, I think another theme that he is playing with is about like the idea of reality, because the woman writes the story, and then in the film, the things that happen in her story end up happening in the film.
Yeah.
The people end up doing the things in the story. So it's kind of like, are they copying her story? Or is this whole movie just the writer? Did she just write this movie?
You mean the movie, the story, the plot in the movie is not really happening, it's just all in her novels?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So we're watching the novelization of her life. And then there's actually a climax to the movie that happens with the man, but then it stops and it goes back and a different ending happens.
Right.
You think, that's maybe his fantasy, but it could just be like that's the story and this is the reality, or
vice versa. Could be the one be the reality, the other one could be fake.
And there's a repeating line that the woman keeps saying to her husband, which is, fiction is fiction and reality is reality. You shouldn't care so much about these stories. So I think that's an important theme for the film, is that, what is real and what is made up. How did you feel about the style of the film and the way it was shot? Anything interesting there?
Always looks like Edward Yang style.
Right.
Edward Yang has his own unique visual style, which is, I believe, more calm down, not no much camera movement.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of time you can see character just step away from the cameras, and the talking not even have emotional performance.
Yeah.
So how he deal with is in very rational, very calm down, and very peacefully relative. For me, it's not common for nowadays everybody wanted to have crazy camera movement or something.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy the way he put cameras and the way talking story through image is so simple.
Yeah, and even to go on to that, to connect to that, what you said about the performances too. Nowadays, especially in Taiwan cinema, performances are all over the top. You have a scene where people are having an emotional argument about a divorce, which there is one in this film, and it's very calm. The two people are sitting down and talking about their emotions. But in a film nowadays, they would be screaming, crying, throwing things, yelling at each other. But not in this film. They're sitting. They cry a little bit, but it's very, very, very calm. They just sit there. The camera is on them, and they talk about their divorce. And it's like, I think it's totally a lost kind of filmmaking, like especially in Taiwan cinema these days. Like, I miss that kind of style. I understand that a lot of audiences think that might be boring.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're really paying attention, you're really watching. I mean, it's so much more realistic.
There's much more detail with it.
Yeah.
For me, it's not. Well, when you close up, when you shaking the cameras, they leading you to somewhere we wanted you to see, right?
Yeah.
But in Edward's perspective, is you can watch whatever you want. I just give you all those information.
Yeah.
At every corner, you can watch different. And very carefully, you can watch the corner on the left up screen and something. You just practically you're watching a 那个叫什么舞台剧 stage
a play.
So many things you can watch.
Yeah,
so many things you can enjoy. So the way you can watch twice, take dozen times to a film. It's enough.
Pick out details. Yeah.
Yeah, pick up details. Like Jenny watched the Terrorizers with me together, and she said, "Oh, the art, the layout, 就是装潢那个 decoration is so beautiful."
Yeah.
So you can. So I believe he put a lot of effort in those details. Just simply put the camera there. It's more difficult just put the camera there.
Yeah, because if you're gonna put the camera there, then you need to fill all that space and make sure that the shot that you have composed is perfect.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna get to cut to a new shot. And every detail of this room needs to be filled with something that you want to be there. You don't frame it out.
No.
So yeah, I totally agree. I think he's very meticulous, and even I noticed with the lighting, he uses a lot of orange and red.
Mm-hmm.
There's the dark room, but even in places where the family, the house of the writer and her husband, the bathroom, when he shoots from far away of the bathroom, the light in the bathroom always looks really orange and red. And then he'll always, in the science lab, the sunlight, he'll expose it. I don't know how he does it, but the sunlight coming in doesn't look like blue like traditionally you would see with sunlight. He makes it so it looks like red or orange.
Right.
And I think he always sees shoots shots of the sun at sunset. And there's like a light in one of the shots that is a round light that it totally overexposes it so it looks like the sun hanging in the room.
Right.
And so I think he has this. I mean, I don't really know what it means, but he definitely wants to say something with this orange, red color, maybe blood, maybe something like that.
Okay, you think so? Yeah. It's an interesting hint in the images.
Yeah. So, I mean, the point is I think we could talk about this film forever, but you should watch it for yourself and kind of pick out some of the great details that Edward Young puts in the film. I mean, he is truly a genius.
Really a genius.
And the film is really has so many different levels on the level of story, directing, design. So stick with it in the beginning. If you feel confused, definitely watch to the end. You won't be disappointed. If you have any films that you would like us to review, please leave a comment and we will get to it. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.